It's been said that horror is a window to view things that the world fears at the time of its release. Different versions of War of the Worlds, not the Ice Cube one, were released at times of war, the Cold War and the Iraq, really cashing in on Americans' fear of invasion and taking advantage of the perspective of the people using Hollywood productions as a way to guide us towards a sense of fear and unity in a single effort against whichever foreign country they didn't like at the time. In 2025, news outlets of the world want you to believe that the world is scarier than it's ever been. Racism, foreign countries, gay people, political parties. These are all new things that are right in your backyard and you need to fear them and watch the news 24/7. Whatever. We allegedly live in the most tumultuous times that the world has ever seen and have a lot to fear as a result of it. I'm fortunate to live in a comfortable place in life and have it pretty freaking good, but I still like to use movies as a form of escapism for the daily stress and struggles. There's a time and place for introspection, and I love that movies allow me to peek into others' lives and develop a sense of empathy. But sometimes I just want to chill. Carol Clover, author of Men, Women, and Chainsaws, says, "The premise of the chapter then is that the slasher film, not despite but exactly because of its crudity and compulsive repetitiveness, give us a clear picture of current sexual attitudes, at least among the segment of the population that forms its first wild audience than do legitimate products of the better studios." Basically saying that when a horror movie is released, depending on what decade, it shows what the world is feeling about sex. And horror in general shows us what we fear. And if horror is showing us what we fear all the time, does it also allow for a sense of appreciation? I want to look into some modern horror and see the little things. What roses are horror movies trying to stop and smell right now? What, according to Kreger, Perkins, and Peele, should I be appreciating? I'm only going to look at movies from the 2020s onwards. As of right now, I feel like that was a major communal shift that everybody could feel. Not that we all agree on everything that happened during that time, we all just faced some kind of issues stemming from COVID or the economy or Drake versus Kendrick that impacted us.
Oh, yeah.
Horror has always followed groups of friends, usually showing up at a level playing field and getting picked off one by a killer. Or by twos if they're banging. The modern day horror movie still has many groups of friends and the same general formulas are still followed. However, I feel as if the roaring 2020s has showed us that groups of friends are a positive thing, a place for a community rather than circumstance. At no time during a Friday the 13th movie, especially the reboot, do I feel as if the friend group truly exists out of the confines of the hour and a half that we see them. Slumber Party Massacre, sure, they're always a group of pals looking to chum around, but they feel as if they're using getting together as an excuse to party and sleep around while the parents are gone. And this girl, she just wants to fuck her friends. Seriously, read the room. Nobody else is getting naked. Even My Bloody Valentine, a movie I praise for its realistic sense of community, has all these people together, yet they feel like they're only together because they live in a town of like 50 people in one bar. Because they do, I guess. Skip to the 90s where we get Scream, and while these friends have more chemistry than any group, these movies are full of mistrust. And by the end of it, we only really get a feeling of love between Sidney, Tatum, and Dewey. From here, Sidney never really feels trusting of anyone. Not even Gale until maybe the fourth movie. But they always feel like they trauma bond every decade, then don't speak. And as the audience, we're always going into these movies expecting to be tricked, so we're never really comfortable with anybody that's on screen. In the modern day, though, we get the core four. And while we spend the majority of 5 Cream learning not to trust anyone, did anyone really think that Mindy and Chad were going to be the killers? No frickin' shot. By Scream 6, we had a group of friends we knew we could trust. Even in Scream 2, Dewey and Randy didn't fully trust each other. Even if it's played for laughs, I tend to take this scene literally.
Let's not move on. Maybe you are a suspect. Well, if I'm a suspect, you're a suspect.
Moving away from home to be all together in college, the group has each other's backs in every movement of life. When we all spent a couple years locked in our houses, at least those of us who acted like we were supposed to, we missed the sense of community. Sure, the Minecraft server was popping off back then, but they didn't really hit the same as in-person hangouts. Look at a movie like Bodies, 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 or It's What's Inside, and tell me this isn't a strong focal point of the movie. Now, I know that somebody's already in the comments saying that either of those are a crazy friend group to pick as like a positive thing, but hear me out. While these groups are the most toxic, untrusting friends you know, there does seem to be a sense of found family between them. They all thrive off of each other's attention, they scream insecurity and wanting to be liked by their peers more than anyone else in the world. There's an underlying judgment and regret, but there are definitely people in the group who do enjoy being around each other, and then a couple people that are igniting the fires. Alice and Greg from Triple B seem like they really just want to hang out, find solace with their friends, new or old. Alice's reaction to being made fun of in her podcast is so incredibly real and heartbreaking, as these are the people that she should be getting support from more than anybody.
No, I didn't. First of all, a podcast takes a lot of work, okay? You have to organize the guests, you have to do a Google Calendar, and you build a following. It takes a lot of time.
In It's What's Inside, Cyrus and Ruben are, in my opinion, 100% the problem. Yes, others have issues with each other, but when you spend enough time with any of your friends, there's bound to be nitpicks about each other's personalities. There seem to be genuine interactions and group bonding around the wedding, and as somebody who's currently going through the process of your friends and you won't always be around each other anymore, it's sad, but cool to see representation like that. With It's What's Inside, Tara and Sam, and even the kids in Clown in a Cornfield, we get groups with camaraderie, years of hangout, and trust built between them. The sense of reuniting mirrors the real world emotions a lot of us were feeling coming out of lockdown. There hasn't been representation of real bonding and trust like this in a long time, if ever in a horror movie before. And as far as classic movies go, other than shining examples of good writing like Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Friend Group or Evil Dead, horror and the slasher subgenre specifically have a lack of writing put behind them to give me a compelling group of friends. In the 2000s, there was too much tension bubbling under the surface between friends to build drama, probably trying to replicate the success of Scream. Nowadays, movies aren't as scared to show camaraderie, have actors stepping on each other's lines, riffing, and building each other up. And that could possibly be in reaction to Stranger Things or It. It probably is.
A few days prior to that, we all met at the stage where the house is, and we watched the original Scream on the lawn.
Living together on set for It's What's Inside for weeks preceding filming, watching movies on the set of Five Cream, and staying together at camp in Hell of a Summer all leads to amazing chemistry and positive examples of friendship for the audience.
I wouldn't mind seeing you up on that screen one day, Mrs.
Pearl.
You think that you like TV and movies? Imagine how much the people that make these things appreciate them. Everyone watches TV, whether it's scripted or not, and we can all appreciate the comfort that it brings us. A couple of my comfort shows: Catfish, Impractical Jokers, Arrow, Ben 10. We have a fondness for what we watched as kids and how important all that felt. I mean, when Kevin went sicko mode and Ben was contemplating killing him, 9-year-old me thought my life was over.
Kevin's a menace. Your friendship aside, the only responsible move is to take him down with all necessary force.
I saw the TV glow capture the importance and weight that is carried by media in our lives so well that I thought I was looking into a mirror. As a teenager, our lives had pretty much just begun as far as consciousness, and everything was super important. The lore in Supernatural, or for the 90s kids Buffy and Charmed, was unmatched and couldn't get any deeper. I cried when I thought Savitar killed Iris because at that point I had spent more time with Barry Allen and his relationship than I had probably ever spent in a relationship of my own. Nope creates a space for people within the film industry that show not only how far someone would go to be a part of it, Emerald is a character that's a part of it and still wants more. Looking at her great
There's another great.
grandfather and aspiring to plug in wherever she can. A small box TV makes these regular humans seem giant to us. Their lives are uncapturable. We're enamored by the emotions that these things can make us feel. Pearl feels similar to Emerald in that nothing captures her attention like the screen does. She wants to be up there, yes, she wants fame, yes, but this all started with watching a movie. Her appreciation for the big screen was already developed, and hearing that the porn industry would rise, she didn't care what it took to be a star. Pearl was willing to follow the traveling show or the projectionist ideologies, and the importance and the weight that that carried from this screen is the foundation of this emotion.
Scott Bailey, now that you've finished your homework, what are you going to do next?
I'm going to the living room.
There's a magic to our screens, and yes, a lot of the time to a negative extent, but there's also a positive. The fact that someone can write a joke so personal and real it makes you laugh, or convey the emotions of loss so well that it makes you cry, all within 30 minutes or 2 hours of knowing a character is extremely powerful. We can all bond over TV and movies, and while TikTok is killing us and fame can feel suffocatingly important, here I am on YouTube, there are things within these rectangles to appreciate as well and relate to. The bonding that we see between Kirby and Mindy, and pretty much any post-Scream I've seen this in a horror movie before, mentality is not only an in-universe appreciation, but acknowledgement from the creators with how our interactions with art lend to who we are and how we interpret the world around us. Movies are experiences. We get to look at somebody else's life, maybe even just a glimpse of it, but we learn a lesson. Watch out for commies. Generational trauma is the root of all evil. Your whole life can lead to nothing, so start doing what you want to do right now. It's all very overwhelming, to say the least. But in every script, performance, and in general every movie, there has to be a point to show how far the character has come, whether rising or falling. There are always points of life to appreciate, no matter how small, and we need to stop and smell these proverbial roses. It's much easier to look back on decades and know what the general consensus was for fears, with horror being a genre steeped in holding a mirror to the modern day and saying, look how things are, these things that I feel are apparent now might be completely contradicted or disproven in the future. It's difficult to step back and know that in the present day, despite what the news wants to tell you, there is good in the world and even in just your life. So what do you think that your favorite movie is telling you to appreciate? Are there any links between the movies that I mentioned that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, share it around, give it a like. Otherwise, thank you for watching.